everyone. Great to see you all here. First of all, I'd like to thank Dallas for the opportunity to be here today and for organising this awesome event that is so important for all of us. It's a huge amount of work to organise something like this. So thank you very much to the whole team of Dallas, Diego, Rogelio, Chris. Awesome event. My name is Anna Raptis. I'm the founder of Amplifica Capital. And Amplifica focused on women-led companies or companies that are producing goods and services focused on improving the lives of women. So we're the first VC fund in Mexico focused on investing in women. We have made 8 investments to date. They all have women founders or co-founders. And 4 of those are in the climate space. One thing I think it's important to mention is the intersectionality between climate and gender. Often what we see is that women and girls are the most vulnerable members of society and most impacted by climate. So that makes me even more excited to be here today and discussing this. My own personal journey and connection with climate, you might hear I have a weird accent. So I am Australian, Greek, Mexican. I grew up in a family. On the one side, they were farmers. On the other side, they were fishermen. I grew up in Adelaide, which is the driest capital city in the driest continent of the world. I have lived with water restrictions my whole life. So today, and really the most exciting thing for me is always working with entrepreneurs, hearing their ideas, hearing how we're going to make this world a better place. So I'm very excited to introduce our entrepreneurs and hear from them. We've got a very interesting, diverse group representing the different areas of climate tech that has been carefully chosen by Chris and his team to give us a broad spectrum about what's going on in this space. So each founder is going to have 6 minutes to give their pitch. At the 5-minute mark, Chris is going to be waving his hand. If you go over 6 minutes, I will come up here and pull you off the stage. We need to keep on track. We're a little bit behind, and we know we're between us and lunch. So we want to keep this moving very well. And then before I forget, I also wanted to let you all know that I'm still fundraising. If anyone likes the idea about what I'm doing, please come and talk to me. And it's very interesting to talk to you all about investing in my fund. Without any more from me, the first entrepreneur we have to talk to today is VU. We have Fernando Ocana, who's the CEO of VU, which is electric cars for the base of the pyramid. Welcome, Fernando.
All right. Thank you to the Daluz Capital team. Thank you, Diego and Rogelio. Thank you, Chris, for inviting me. This is incredible. Well, I'll start by explaining a little bit about my background. I'm a car designer. I worked 15 years in different car brands across Europe. I never really felt at home. I'm from Mexico City. And I am here to speak publicly for the first time about VEU, which is the new electric car brand from Mexico City. We're going to be doing the next moto taxi for the city for the capital of Mexico City. If you can, I don't have, oh, here. Well, that goes some of my 30 seconds. Okay, so we're a government-sponsored so far project. I wanted to pick up on what Ambassador Salazar was talking earlier today. Electric cars seem to be this way out of the industry's role in global warming. We currently contribute to 11% of the emissions causing it. However, I find it a little difficult to believe that electric cars as we know them today are going to revert the situation. First of all, they're too heavy. manufacturing 2 tons of plastic and metal, and the logistic and industrial processes that go with it, plus the batteries that are needed to propel such weights, it's just not going to cut it. Secondly, they are exclusive to a group of people that are able to afford them. That's currently only 0.8% of the global population. So in my mind, is how a global transition will only include less than 1% of the population. Thirdly, if we did very lightweight, very affordable electric cars, we would still be doing them under a business model that relies on selling products. Making more is never going to be the way to pollute less. So we need to really address those 3 issues. Also, we have this peculiar problem in the industry that we're obsessed with our product. I guess everyone is, but in our world, the car is God, basically. We just talk about cars, and we just talk about how good they look or how bad they look. We don't think of the system around them. So it's going to be crucial not only to dematerialize the automobile, but also to strengthen the social, cultural, and economical dimensions of clean mobility adoption at scale. That might sound like a huge challenge for the industry, and quite frankly, it's difficult to understand why no car company has gone into the micromobility landscape in a proper way. It is also quite telling of their culture, to be honest. But the reality is that this is a $35 billion business market in annual sales that no one really has addressed. We're still using 50-year-old technology, both across the global south and across the global north. So I was very honored when the government of my city called me up to redesign the mototaxi, which is a vehicle that's used peripherally on economically marginalized areas of the city. There's about 50,000 of them operating today in the city. And they asked me to redesign it for a less polluting and a safer usage of this mode of transport. This is one of the first drawings. I've always been really excited about why should we design cars to look as if they're moving when they're standing still, particularly if some of them are going to be standing still in traffic, and we could be using some of that space. If you compare the amount of space that could be pulled up vertically from a Smart for 2, you can understand that we could be putting more people inside of cars. And it's also the kind of architecture that already populates our city. So just make that move was kind of the first thought. This was one of the first sketches. Actually, this is the one I won the contract with. Very easy to put a wheelchair inside a car in Photoshop. Not so easy to put it in the car when you're building it. But the reality is that this cubic design raises the possibility for more living space within the car. This is the prototype. Actually, I put it outside, but they asked me to move it to the parking garage, so I just brought it in here so you can see it out before you go to lunch. This is a prototype that was presented a couple of weeks ago. Actually, yesterday I had a meeting with the government officials in charge of legislating what a mototaxi is going to be in the future. So I'm very lucky to be part of that team and working with the government of Mexico City. But the problem, I feel, goes a little deeper. We made a demographic study realizing that only 2% of the trips involving in mototaxi involved a person with a disability. So there's a remaining 16% of our population that is not traveling and is thus not part of the public life of our city. So we made sure we had some accessibility for these wheelchair users, not only in terms of riding, but also in terms of employment. We can bring a wheelchair all the way in so that wheelchair users can have opportunities for employment. We also designed an acoustic system for this vehicle to warn pedestrians of its presence, which is key for a group of stakeholders represented within the vulnerable road user group. And I'm personally quite excited to be leaving a mark in the landscape of the city that has seen some incredible vehicles serving as the taxi. This is the current phase of the project now. We are beginning a pilot program with different government agencies. We're having a bunch of great support from different groups. And we're going to be focusing first on the Tláhuac district of the city. This is the first factory that we are going to be building the first few thousand cars at, which is proudly for me in the center of Mexico City. But we're going to be needing to grow fast, especially as we're going to be investing on the social dimensions of mototaxi driving, which means we're going to bring mototaxi out of these peripheral areas in the city and into mainstream usage across the capital. And in growing, we're going to have to be growing exponentially also into other countries. As you might know, Central America and most of Latin America moves in these kind of vehicles. There's 859,000 of them registered in Peru. So we're going to have to scale up very quickly. And that's kind of the context that we're at. In terms of impact, I'd like to speak of two things. Number one, this is as much as it is about technological innovation, it is also about environmental justice. The idea that the lowest earning group in our city is going to be paying for this technology is mathematically impossible, but also unethical. So we need to externalize the cost of adoption. That's our key issue. And in doing so, we're going to involve this group in the fight against climate change. And secondly, if we build these strong networks of micromobility around public transportation hubs, then we can imagine we can have a realistic image of a city without cars. And that's one of the biggest things I can hope for, particularly as a car designer who has seen the industry and the role it plays in global culture, and how I want to change it and reverse the meaning of cars. That's basically us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fernando. That's super interesting to see this kind of transportation that we'll see going forward. Next up, we have Morgan Babs, CIO of Ilumexico. And Ilumexico is a B corporation whose mission is to catalyze growth through solar energy in the most remote communities of Mexico. Look forward to this presentation.
Okay, great. My name is Morgan. I am a co-founder and the Chief Innovation Officer at Popular Power. This is actually a really exciting day for us because you likely know us as Ilumexico. That has been our name for the past 10 years. Ilumexico is now a global company, so this is actually the first public announcement of our global consolidation as Popular Power. So Popular Power is a solar as a service provider for the energy transition market. Oops, I keep doing that. So this is the world at night. When Thomas Edison invented the light bulb over 150 years ago, he said that electricity would be so ubiquitous that only the rich would burn candles. So for the most part, we've accomplished this, but we've accomplished it through a grid, which is a technology that has been around for almost as long as Thomas Edison has been dead, which is insane. And the grid is unsafe, it's dirty, and it's increasingly unreliable. So crippling blackouts is a term that makes headlines more and more. And aside from that, the grid is a technology that has left behind almost 1 billion people around the world who still do not have access to power. So our reliance on the grid is what is prohibiting us from embracing the energy transition like we need to embrace it. So this is the largest market we've ever been staring at, and our enemy right now, aka the grid, is the status quo. So Popular Power is a solar service provider to off-grid homes and small businesses. So these are people that don't have access to electricity whatsoever, and grid-poor homes and small businesses. So peri-urban and rural households who increasingly face blackouts and brownouts, and right now are suffering the biggest burden of the energy crisis. We do this through distributed solar, which is a major part of our energy future. So customers contract Popular Power as their electricity service provider. They sign up for a plan depending on what their electricity needs are. Popular Power comes out and we install a distributed solar home asset, and they pay an affordable monthly rate to use our service. This is always equivalent or less than what they're paying right now for alternate energy sources. We provide all the service and the maintenance, so we act as a next generation utility. If they have an issue, we come out and we fix it, and we provide routine maintenance too. So we create a high quality, hassle-free electricity experience for our customer. well, there's a slide missing, but one of our unique features of our service is our smart meter, which enables us to monitor and protect our solar home system assets in the field. And it also provides us critical data on customer consumption and our system generation. So we've been around for over 10 years, again, as Ilu Mexico, operating here in Mexico. 2 years ago, we launched Sol Luna Energia in Colombia, and just this past year, we actually went into the US market on tribal lands as Navajo Power Home. So our solar service has reached 120,000 people. We have over 5 megawatts in installed capacity, which actually puts us in the top 5% of off-grid solar providers in the world. And today, we've generated $35 million in revenue. So we are on our way to creating the next generation utility for the Americas. We're providing seamless electricity services for the energy transition market. We're also starting to provide access to connectivity services. So this year, we're launching an in-home internet subscription for our customer base. And to do this, we are raising currently $8 million USD in equity. This will help us consolidate our presence in the region. Right now, we're actually looking at launches in both Panama and Puerto Rico. It's going to help us develop our internet product and develop our premium solar as a service line. So I want to leave you all with the story of Faustina and Juan. When they first got access to electricity via Popular Power a few years ago, we asked them what the most life-changing aspect of electricity was for them. And of course, we expected them to say stereotypical things such as, I have more productive hours in the day, or I can, keep my meat refrigerated or whatnot. And Faustina said to us that the most life-changing aspect of having electricity for her was that she could look at her husband Juan's eyes at night for the first time in her life. So this is the future we believe in. These are the stories that Popular Power creates. And again, the only thing holding us back is the status quo. Thank you.
Thank you, Morgan, for that awesome presentation. I actually came to Mexico 20 years ago to work on energy transition. I just can't believe how long it's taking us, right? We've got a long way to go, but it's so exciting to see the different initiatives and entrepreneurial activities to spearhead and keep that energy, getting us closer to energy transition. Next up, we have Oscar Pomar, the CFO of Kilimo, which is a SaaS-enabled marketplace that leverages AI to help farmers reduce irrigation and allow them to sell water offsets to companies pledging to be water neutral. Welcome, Oscar.
Hola. Hola a todos. My name is Oscar Pomar. I'm the CFO of Kilimo. I have a corporate, actually I'm from Peru. I'm based in Lima. I have a corporate background. I joined the company last year to develop the water offset marketplace. Well, Kilimo is a company that focuses on agro to fight against climate change. Water is the main way how climate change expresses itself. If you compare climate change with a shark, probably water will be the teeth. You can feel and see how droughts are happening more often, more longer, and more frequently. And the agricultural sector, as the most water consumer sector, is the most affected one. According to the FAO, droughts are the main reason of declining yield of major crops. They estimate that globally, yield will reduce 17%. Because of that, there are a lot of companies incorporating water commitments into their sustainability goals. There are more like 300 companies pledging to be at least water neutral, and the water commitments continue to increase. So, on one side, we have the farmers with whom we have been working almost 3 years, helping them with machine learning and AI to reduce their water consumption. And on the other side, there is a huge demand of companies pledging to be neutral. In that sense, we create a sustainable marketplace solution that connects both sides. we developed a climate adaptation flywheel business model. Farmers uses our technology to improve their irrigation efficiency that allow them without help to sell the water savings to corporations. The benefit of this transaction are split between the farmer and us. To generate this water saving supply, we have a multi-channel acquisition strategy led by our irrigation academy. Our content marketing generates more than 12 webinars per month and with an average of 500 participants per webinar. It's by far the largest digital agro academy in Latin America. In 2021, we had revenue for $800,000. This year, we plan to almost triple that number. 2 months ago, we closed our first water compensation transaction in Latam. Now we already have two deals closed and more than $3 million in book revenue that we estimate will be closed by between July and August, the next 2 months. We are 6 people leading the company. The team has different background and expertise and counts with over 30 years of combined experience doing business. Well, the market size is huge. After a bottom-up analysis, we calculate our TAM in $100 billion. This is half of the credit carbon market. During the next 2 years, we very focused conquering the Latam market with a strong focus in Mexico, Chile, Argentina, and Peru. During the next 6 months, so this year, we plan to create our first water offset standard and to create our first water NFT that will give us accountability, traceability, and scalability for our business, for our water compensation business. And our main goal for 2023 is to create that marketplace that will connect farmers with corporations. Well, we have a magic number in terms of revenue. We want to earn more than $30 million by 2025. This is 3 years from now, led by our water compensation unit. The water compensation unit will represent almost 70% of that revenue by 2025. We already start conversations for our Series A. We plan to raise $5 million to consolidate our software as a service platform in Latam, to accelerate our water offset transaction, and to develop the infrastructure to create the water offset marketplace. We have a magic number. Our mission is to save 7 trillion liters by 2031. This is the water consumption of all the population in Latam. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Oscar. Amazing presentation, and I'm sure many people here have seen the Mad Max film, where we saw how important water is and water scarcity. So next up we have Toroto. We have Santiago Espinoza, CEO, and they design and implement nature-based solutions with the highest scientific standards and transparency in Mexico. Welcome, Santiago.
Hello all. I am also going to do the mic and clicker combo. My name is... shout out to Ilumexico, an amazing company, and to Morgan, who gave a great presentation. But my name is Santiago. I'm the CEO of Toroto, and I'm very happy to be here to talk to you about our company, which is a family-founded operation that we started in Mexico City at the end of 2019. Now, the reason we decided to start the company was that we realized the climate crisis is a territorial problem. Land needs to be conserved, restored, or sustainably managed if we are to harvest the Earth's capacity to help us fight the climate crisis, which is the only way in which we have any meaningful shot at doing it. But currently, there are a lot of problems that prevent us from doing climate action in a scalable manner, particularly at the field level, which is where we need it the most. Number one, there is a general lack of transparency. So when a company invests in field level operations, field level projects, such as reforestations, restorations, regenerative agriculture, or any land-based activity, there's a lack of transparency which prevents companies from doing the most ambitious investments they can do. Now, projects at the field level also have super weak governance with either agrarian or municipal law. So rarely do they have the right structure for them to be permanent. We need field level operations to last for at least 30 years if they are going to have any meaningful impact in facing the climate crisis. And what's also interesting is there's just not enough field level installed capacities to do the restoration of the land at the scale at which we need it. If you want to restore 1,000 hectares, you need to be able to produce 5 million trees. And there is not one single tree nursery in the country producing this. This is a CapEx problem. This is a supply chain problem. So what we do, of course, looks a lot like hard integrated work, but we do have one more passion that fuels us. In the current status quo, from 5 to 30% of what a company pays to invest in climate action, from 5 to 30% of what a company invests through climate credits, direct nature-based solutions, ends up actually paying for climate action. The rest finances a super long chain of intermediaries, brokers, consultants, and other people who only take from the value that can be added at the field level, and of course prevent the small guy from doing more. The solution is more integration and a lot of hard work. So what we do is we first identify opportunities to develop nature-based solutions, and we partner with the landowners to do so. They make no less than 70% of what companies invest in fighting the climate crisis. We design and operate reforestation, restoration, water infiltration, or regenerative agriculture practices at the field level. Now, we also register and certify these projects with international registries such as CAR, Verra, or any others that are meaningful for our corporate partners. Each corporate partner brings with a set of requisites and protocols that they want us to work with, or we help them develop their own necessities. Now, we are probably the climate-focused company with the land-based company with the largest tech team and the most capable tech team that we know of in Mexico. We not only develop the most important the most useful geographical information systems that we can to understand where restoration is actually necessary and where conservation is a must. We can see biological corridors. We can see where water infiltration can be the most increased by doing restoration. We can see where carbon removals can be higher, but we also have our own home-based registries where we can show each ton of CO2 equivalent removed or cubic meter of water infiltrated at the field level exactly where this is happening. And this is a first globally. Now, I'm going to showcase one huge nature-based solution that we're doing with a very dear partner to us, Grupo Modelo and AB InBev, and I'm going to do a focus on one of our projects with them. Now, what we're doing generally is we're making sure water never runs out of the watersheds from which they take water to make beers such as Corona and Stella. And this is in everyone's best interest, of course. Now, how this looks like, you like that? How this looks like is we work 1 hour in every direction of their brewery with the landowners to implement reforestations that increase vegetative cover, soil and water enhancement works that carefully placed increase the infiltration and increase the carbon removals that the ecosystem is capable of doing itself. And we do this mainly by creating local high-quality jobs. And this is one of our proudest characteristics. Now, we recently implemented a pilot with them because AB InBev has made a very, very serious commitment. So we're going to focus on one of the most strategic projects that are happening within this watershed. They say they're going to be, and I'm sure they're going to be, because I know that team, net zero by 2040 along 100% of the supply chain. Their third largest source of emissions is agriculture. And almost half of that comes from barley. It's actually 46.2% that come from barley, okay? What we're doing is we are implementing regenerative agricultural practices within their supply chain on 30 hectares of barley production, where we're doing cover crops, crop rotation, heavily reducing the use of heavy machinery to phase out diesel and also let soil be undisturbed, and also, of course, completely phasing out chemical fertilizers. This both enhances the capacity of the soil to sequester carbon, but also reduces the overall greenhouse gas emissions, such as nitrous oxides and methane that go into the atmosphere because of the production of barley in the business as usual case. Now, the potential to scale just in the watershed region where this brewery is located is to do up to 70,000 hectares of barley, which would sequester over 100,000 tons of CO2 equivalent every year, which is more, or I think equivalent, to all the direct emissions of this brewery itself. And this is the second largest brewery in the country, on track to be the largest one. Now, what's also important is that this is carbon insetting. This is the largest brewer in the world. Owners of brands such as Jimenez, Bavaria, Corona, Grupo Modelo, Anheuser-Busch, Stella, 25% of all the beer in the world, investing inside their supply chain to meet their climate targets. This is making their supply chain more valuable at a decade where supply chain resilience is one of the most important challenges any CEO will face, while also meeting their climate commitments. Now, the results we're getting on the first year are outstanding. Farmers are seeing 103% more profitability on the same crops for 2022 than what they did for 2021. And around 15% of this profitability comes from the extra carbon that was either not emitted or stored in the soil as a consequence of their activities. Now, of course, what we're hoping of as Toroto is to always expand our operation with more corporate partners, particularly if there is water or agro in their supply chains. And of course, more collaboration opportunities with startups within the same cohort or cohorts of programs that we are in. We are also raising a Series A funding round of $8 million that we hope to close by September 15. Thanks a lot for your time.
Super interesting, that presentation. Thank you so much, Santiago. So next up, we have Was Company. We have Walter Mata, who's the CEO, and they are doing sustainable building materials based on recycled industry materials. Sounds super interesting. Look forward to hearing from you, Walter.
Hi, my name is Walter Mata. I'm the CEO of Was Company. I'm from Monterrey, Nuevo León, Mexico, and I have 25 years old. Well, before I'm talking about Was Company, I want to talk about why we are here. Oh, sorry, okay. Well, and I said I'm from Monterrey. I'm born in Monterrey, Mexico. It's in the north of the country of Mexico. We are the mountains here, you know, like this peak in the Cerro La Silla. We have this Cerro La Silla. But today we have a big problem right now. The pollution. Today, Monterrey is the most polluted city in Mexico, and we are in the top 10 of the most polluted city in the world. Yeah. One of the principal factors of this pollution in our city is the construction industry. An example. For each ton of concrete producing, we are emitting 717 kilograms of CO2, right? To build this tower, the Pavilion M, we use 280,000 tons of concrete. If we use 280,000 tons of concrete per 717 kilograms of CO2, we are emitting 21 millions of kilograms of CO2. We need to plant more than 22 millions of trees. Is 40 times the city of Madrid. That's why we create Was Company, provide accountability solutions. In Was Company, we develop sustainable building materials with recycled materials. We transform the plastic waste, construction waste, and another type of waste to applicate to different building materials like this. We create a new polymer compounds or formula that we have a nanotechnology that have the high properties and characteristics to applicate to different building materials. This is a lot of, well, a simple our product. We have a Ecolica concrete, have the same mechanical properties to the conventional concrete. We have Ecolica bricks. The contact formula like this is our start product right now because in Mexico we have a problem market with the wood. Is a short supply wood right now. So we are selling right now this type of product. And in the difference of the wood is used, you can use 5 to 10 times in this application. And in our technology, you can use 100 times to this application. Our products is more lighter, waterproof, thermal, not flammable, not toxic, have a lot of durability. Sorry. And what about our value proposition or our advance of materials is like this type of project. I don't know if you know about this soccer stadium. Its name is Estadio Sostenible Yucatán. It will be built in Mérida, Yucatán. We have a letter of purchase to build all the facade of this stadium. It's around, we will recycle more than 800 of tons of plastic in this project. About our process, the first step is the most important to us, the supply of different materials. But the first step is the circular economy, because like this product, the customer, when they use our technology, we can take again or recycle again to this same product, right? This is our current clients. We are selling right now in Monterrey, Chihuahua, and other states of Mexico. This is our collaborators, and right now the most important we have is Holcim. Holcim, we are working with create the substitute of the cement, the new product with them. So this type of product can revolution of all this industry. About the competitors, the principal difference is our technology can be used in different type of building like the Estadio Sostenible and other type of structural materials. Honestly, the team is young, but we have expert of polymers, expert of concrete, and another type of nanotechnology to create this type of building materials. About the traction, we are selling right now, but right now we have a limit of volume of production, so that's why we are raising our seed capital, because we have a lot of intention portions signed to sell in this type of products, and we are raising 3.7 million of dollars. Principal to use in working and operational capital, have our own machinery equipment, expanding all this product to all Mexico and export to USA, have our own laboratory. Right now we have these VCs and social founders that they are interested in us to invest. And with our financial projection and impact projection in 5 years, we will reduce 26.3 million of CO2, tons of CO2. We will recycling 207,000 tons of plastic, save more than 40 million of tons of water, and save 12 millions of trees. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Greg, for an awesome presentation. And I can't wait to watch the World Cup in 2026 in that awesome stadium in Merida. Looks really great. So next up, we have Instacrops. So we have Francisco Altamiras, CTO of Instacrops. And Instacrops is a virtual crop advisor that integrates technology and analytics using IoT, satellites, and drones data to help farmers maximize their crop yields. Sounds awesome. Can't wait to hear about it. Hola.
Okay. Well, first of all, my name is Mario Bustamante. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Instacrops. Francisco is the CTO, is not attending this event. And, well, my name is Mario. I'm an electronics engineer, also second founder. I sold my first startup 6 years ago for a huge retail in South America. We developed over 11,000 of electronic devices, and we are super good doing hardware and IoT sensors. But today, we are helping farmers maximize their crop yields in Latin America with very good traction numbers. Today, we have over 300 of customers and 1 million plus in revenues. And we have customers like BSF and huge companies, but 90% are medium-sized growers in 8 countries in Latin America. We received 2.8 million in our last funding stage. And we also were the first startup entering in the Y Combinator program. I mean, in the AgTech space, historically. And we also increased our users in 3x and our sales in 2x in the last year. And about the problem, I'm sure that I don't need to convince you about this. Climate change is affecting agriculture worldwide, and our challenge is produce more food and better with less resource, focusing on this, I think, most important KPIs about the water, fertilizers, and human labor, among others. Our solution is quite simple. We built a crop advisor, which is a one-stop shop platform that integrates too many data sources for measuring in-field weather monitoring, soil moisture, and we are connecting satellites and drones data in one full stack platform. So we give advice in real time, like a crop advisor. We are doing a lot of AI, so we are detecting insects, disease. We are also making prediction using machine learning models. So all in one full stack platform. We want to build digital clones of farms. So if you are a farmer, imagine for a second that you are a cherry producer and you have your farm in your pocket in one click. You already know that what kind of problem do you have for increase your yields. People who use Instacrops are reducing water, increasing yield, and also reducing the energy savings with immediate ROI. That is a very good and interesting KPI. We're almost 50 people in 5 countries. We made the flip to United States the past year, and we have branches in Mexico, Colombia, and Chile. People with over 10 years of experience doing technology and agribusiness. About the market, as you may know, Latin America is the #1 producing fresh fruit worldwide. We're focusing right now on growing super fast here in Mexico. We have operations for 1 year and focusing on this huge and relevant market. This is the most important challenge for this year. We shift to a SaaS business model because some architects are doing a lot of selling and investment requirement, a lot of working capital intensive. So we switched to this SaaS model with a very good results. So you only need to pay one annual subscription like Netflix or Spotify. So as a growth strategy, we're focusing on these three markets, doing this SaaS pivot, and we want to achieve 2.5 million. This is how this sales looks like so far. We're almost in 1 million in recurring revenue. And about the funding stage, we raised already 3.5 million. We are doing Series A bridge because we only need 1.5 million for achieving the break-even for the next milestone. We are using the funds for business development and new hires mostly. And our purpose is to connect 5,000 farmers in Latin America in the next 5 years. With this kind of movements, the hockey stick like investor likes. We are backed by Y Combinator, as I mentioned before. Also, we receive investment from SVG Ventures, is the most active agtech accelerator and investor in Silicon Valley, and also for a couple of Chilean VCs like Genesis Ventures and Chile Global Ventures as well. So thank you. I'd be happy to chat.
Super interesting presentation. Thank you so much, Francisco. And I definitely have companies in my portfolio that I'd like to introduce you to. I see some synergies there. So look forward to continuing that conversation. So next up, we have one of my favorite companies, but I'm biased because I'm an early investor in Verqor. Verqor, we have today Valentina Rogacheva, who is the COO, and Verqor digitizes the flows of money, goods, and information in the agro industry. Welcome, Valentina.
Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here and share a bit with you about the work we're doing in Verqor. In Mexico, I'm COO and co-founder of Verqor. So it's been said many times today that agriculture is literally everywhere. Everything that we eat, drink, wear every day comes from the fields. Just in Mexico, we have every year $70 billion worth of produce. We export to 160 different countries, and we have more than 50 million farmers working in the fields. And unfortunately, many of them, they live under the poverty line. So why does it happen? Agriculture in Latin America is an industry that is still very traditional. It's an industry that is very informal, that has no digital processes, and that's why the main 4 players in the industry, they are not connected between each other. So the main 4 players face many obstacles in their daily activities. For example, let's take the farmers. Farmers have no access to formal credits, and it means that they cannot invest in their fields, buy high-quality agri supplies, and year after year, they earn very low margins, and it's like a vicious circle of poverty in which they stay. Financial institutions are unwilling to finance farmers because of the high risks in the industry, which are mainly climate risks, and because of lack of data. Financial institutions have no way to actually estimate the paying capacity of the farmer. So the next players, the produce buyers, is all the companies that buy from the farmers. They have to buy through intermediaries. So companies like Nestlé, Bimbo have to buy through the intermediaries, and they don't have the transparency in the produce they buy from farmers. And that means they have no transparency in the final product that they sell. And the last player is the input suppliers, is that all the companies that actually produce fertilizers, agrochemicals, and other agro supplies and sell them, they have no direct contact with the final client. So what we do is that we digitize and centralize and formalize all the agri industry by connecting all the main players through cashless credits. How does it work? The farmer can enter our platform, apply for a credit, and we approve it in 24 hours. The credit is dispersed within 1 week. And it's very important to mention that we reduce the time of approval of the credit by 20 times compared to a traditional financial institution. Next, the farmer gets like a balance in the platform that he can spend for buying all the agri supplies he needs for the cycle. So in the beginning of the cycle, he doesn't need to worry about anything but to work in the fields. He has everything that he needs delivered directly to his farm. And after harvesting, after selling the produce, farmer repays the loan. So like this, we deliver value to each of the players in the industry by providing access to farmers to formal credit, providing them high quality supplies through our catalog. We reduce risks of lending in agro-industry because we provide alternative credit score and data about the real paying capacity of the farmers to financial institutions. We show to agro supply buyers what was used in the fields before the tomatoes or the barley or any produce arrives to the agro buyer company. And we ensure direct contact of agro supply providers with the client. Another important problem that has been discussed already today many times is that Mexico is the country that faces water shortage, and 40% of all the water wells are overexploited. And that's why our input goes beyond. And we also work on financing irrigation systems. And here it's very important to mention that we do it in a collaboration with big corporations like AB InBev and Cemex. And we work with them in order to reach the farmers and help them to technify the irrigation systems and finance them. So summarizing, the environmental impact that we reach is really high because we ensure that farmers use high quality agro supplies in their fields that is directly reflected on the quality of the produce they get. We ensure reduced water consumption in their fields. We also capacitate our farmers about the importance of using organic and biological agri supplies, that is the future for the agriculture, and on average raising this environmental awareness in the industry. Another important point to mention is that we help our farmers to build their climate resilience. We know that the climate change directly affects the most vulnerable ones, the most vulnerable sectors, and we know that the income of the farmers depends on the natural resources. And farmers are the ones who are directly impacted by climate shocks. So months of hard work can worth nothing if the farmer does not use the adaptive strategies, doesn't foresee the threats of climate shocks. So that's how we also help farmers to build it and bounce back from these climate shocks in the field. We are a great team. We're now 25 people working, and we share the same vision about digitizing the agri-industry. In our latest round, we raised $2.2 million in our seed round, and we're backed by leading venture capital teams. Here, they were speaking Ariadne, who has been our lead investor in seed round, and her and her team has been a great ally for us. And Raptis was one of our first investors. We're also being part of global programs like 100 Plus Accelerator. We were part of the first cohort. And well, we still know that there is a great challenge ahead of us. And that's why now we're working on raising our credit line of $5 million to ensure even faster and safer credits to our farmers. We want to be the best solution for them, the fastest, the most secure one, and we welcome everyone to join us in this vision to digitize the agri-industry. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Valentina. Excellent presentation. And what I can see here is there's a lot of synergies for our entrepreneurs to talk to each other and see how they can add even more value to agriculture here in Mexico and beyond. So last, between us and lunch, I think it's very appropriate that we have next up Asanté, which is going to be talking to us about their plant-based food products. So please welcome Iván Jimenez, CEO, who the future of Mexican food is plant-based. They're using biotech and modern culinary techniques to make vegetal and mycelium-based meat in ready-to-heat Mexican dishes sold in the US and Mexico. Welcome.
A lot of pressure for me being between you and lunch, so I'll try to be as concrete as possible. And please bear with me with your hunger, and I hope that you can enjoy some of the products that we're going to share with you at lunch. So my name is Iván Jimenez. I am the co-founder and CEO of Asanté, and we're growing meat without animals. So there it is. So who doesn't love Mexican food? It is delicious, right? And it is the second largest ethnic cuisine in the US, but the amount of meat that we use in our cuisine is not sustainable or healthy. Now, there's scientific consensus on the negative impacts that animal meat have on the planet. Climate change, calorie conversion from animal feed to proteins, deforestation and water pollution. In fact, Mexico is the largest exporter of cattle in the world and uses 40% of the territory to animal farming. I come from a family of cattle farmers, and so I know firsthand that the heat and water scarcity is already impacting the inflation that we see all across food in the world. On top of that, many Mexicans and Americans are suffering from a variety of health issues related to the consumption of animal meat. I mean, there are many, but heart diseases, cancer, and antibiotic resistance. And the sad thing is that most of this is preventable. But today's meat substitutes are not good enough. They're depending on a limited amount of crops. We're using too much salt, saturated fats, and of course preservatives. And this is preventing people to adapt. We need more and better options to help people improve their diets. This is why we created Asanté, the healthiest option in the market with the right taste. Asanté products are affordable, shelf-stable, and delicious. Our unique whole-cut fillets are made from fresh ingredients, and we're using our own mushroom roots in them. Asanté is building a protein platform and a brand that will become the staple for 360 million people who enjoy Mexican food in North America. On top of that, we believe that we're sustainable. And we're saving over 2 kilotons of CO2e already, and we're planning on reaching 1 million of kilotons saved with our products. Also, we're impacting 7 out of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. And let me talk you a little bit of, sorry, I think that I went, no, sorry. We're selling in Mexico and in the US right now. We're convincing people that change is easy, is just in the aisles of the supermarket, and transforming your traditions is not as heavy or as a burden as someone believes, right? We can substitute the cochinita that is destroying the Mayan jungle in Mérida from cochinita that is made from plant-based meat. And we believe that the market is immense. So only in the cities where we're currently selling, the market is around $5 million, right? But if we go global, we're talking about a plant-based market of $35 billion, which is nothing compared to the size of global meat, which is $1.4 trillion. So we have 2 technology directions at Asanté. The first one is plant-based, and this involves a new product that we're going to launch in Mexico, and you're gonna try right now, which is a blend of pea protein with nopal. But the second is our fermentation platform. And this allows us to find new textures, flavors, and explore further sustainability of the methods that we can grow meat and that we can offer sustainable products to people. So the first, sorry, I think that I'm missing a slide here. So let me tell you a bit about the mycelium meat. So the first product that we created in our fermentation platform is mycelium meat. And this is very, very interesting because this is a cost-effective, scalable, and sustainable protein with great taste. And as we filed our first patent and we built our pilot production plant, we realized that this technology has the potential of solving all the global protein production problems. So we have a great team to do this. We bring decades of experience from a variety of places. We have Gabi, who is a brilliant finance person leading the admin and legal. We have Dr. Claudio Garibay, who is a PhD in biotechnology and is finding solutions based on science to find technologies that can become patentable and that can be scalable. And we have a very small but committed team of talented individuals. We have the recent hire, Angel, among us. And in my case, I am an industrial engineer with a large history of working in a diverse industry such as finance, investing, marketing, and I am a very passionate cook. This is how I got into this industry. I found a way of blending all my experience and also my passion of connecting with people. So we have learned that, and let me just take a couple of seconds of why we believe that capital is so important, right? So we have learned that the key for creating enduring change in people's tradition is to keep improving the user experience and amplifying the core messages that drive change. Therefore, we're raising funds for strengthening our team, for marketing, for production, for product development, and for R&D. And we already have backers like Kanko, who is among us today from Mita Ventures. And let me close so that we can go all to lunch. Just saying that at Asanté, we believe in celebrating the positive steps, the positive steps in the right direction, like those that all of you took today by attending this event and by being part of a community that can really lead change. As Anna was mentioning, it's about finding innovative paths and building the bridges that we all need to create the future that we want to live on. So please join me in raising your virtual glasses and salute to the evolution of traditions. Thank you, and let's for more.
Thank you very much, Iván, for an excellent presentation. And I think, what's very clear that within this room sits the opportunities. And what we need to see in Mexico, in Latin America, is greater innovation. We have the innovation, but what we now need is more investment in this space. So please connect with the entrepreneurs here today, whether you are an investor or you're someone who can support technically, or you can connect these awesome entrepreneurs with capital or experience. Please do so because if we want to see a cleaner, more sustainable world, this is what we need to invest in. And if you weren't here before when I said it, Amplifica Capital is also raising funds. So if you want to invest in us, please come and talk to me. Lunch.